Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
Yeah, this week we discuss if more expensive is actually better.
We've got loads of hot tech as well, including a drop bar mountain bike, which is going to blow your mind. We've got a rim brake saviour just launched. We've got bouncy stems. We've got comments of the week and the bike vault. Let's go. So after throwing shade at athletics and runners last week, we're very much sort of steering back into our lane, and we're going to talk about bike tech and the concept of is cheaper or more expensive actually better?
Yeah, hang about actually, because before we get onto all of that, you did throw a lot of shade at athletics last week, and I think you missed some pretty big innovative tech.
Like what?
Did you see slightly biased, obviously an interest in Team GB, but did you see their kit?
No,
you didn't watch it. So they actually had some really cool tech on their kit from a company called Rion. It was the technology was first started by NASA, and then they've been developing for the last 15 years at Imperial College in London. And basically, it's this kind of polymer that changes in its natural state. It's soft and flexible, and then on impact, such as a foot hitting the floor, it becomes more rigid, and the idea is to kind of dampen and reduce the vibration and movement of the muscles. And they actually are different kits. So say you're an 800-meter runner, they'd have this polymer kind of in different directions and sort of a layup, depending on the distance and the movement of the runner.
This actually sounds incredible. So what you're saying is Ollie and I were sort of by and large quite wrong last week.
Yes.
Brilliant.
All right, on to this week's topic anyway.
Yeah, actually, before we do, you might have noticed Ollie's not with us this week. We've got Mark here. Ollie has got the sniffles after he tried extra hard on a time trial at the weekend. So, Mark...
The guy knows how to live at a weekend.
He does know how to live.
The topic this weekend, sorry to sidetrack us a little bit there. First point, everyone's better will vary. I think you're right. Yeah, like is cheaper or more expensive better? Like, is better for one person? You don't know what that means. Is it better for the environment? Is it better for more speed? Is it better because it's lighter? Is it better because it's faster in general? Is it better for your wallet? Because some people's idea of better is that it's just cheaper. Yeah. I mean, for many people, better often means faster. So does spending more money always mean better?
Well, I'm not actually convinced it does, and we'll discuss for a number of different reasons in a minute. But I do firmly believe there's some areas that you should spend a bit more money on because you genuinely get a better product or something better for it. And there's also areas where you're like, well, the cheap one is just fine, so save your money and spend it on the other areas. Now, there's a sort of obscure reason as to why I wanted to discuss this, and that was because I was out riding at the weekend. A bunch of cycling nerds, understandably, as you can guess, we're all happy spending obscene amounts of money on our bikes. But one person was like, I just need to buy a new barbecue because I buy a cheap one every single year, and every year it's basically ruined and they have to throw it away and buy a new one. And then it was like, well, if that was your bike, you'd be like, well, just buy the expensive one, it will last.
Yeah, I see your argument there. What do we define as a cheap barbecue though?
£50 marker.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I got a great one for £100 from Argos.
And is it lasted?
It has. Good few years, yeah. It's brilliant.
Okay, so you're just going to ruin my entire theory of cheap versus expensive.
Anyway, sorry, yeah.
Well, no, that's a good point, right? Because sometimes the cheap thing can be good and sometimes it isn't good, but you've got to be savvy with your choices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So are there any areas, like bring it back to bikes, forget barbecues for a minute, where you think this area is an area you want to spend on and this is an area you want to save on? Have you got something you want to kick us off with or not really?
Well, I've been thinking about this, and sorry if I'm going to go off again on a bit of a spiel here, but I think go back sort of like 10 years, and the kind of bikes that a lot of people would say, it's the more aero bike, this is the top end bike. A lot of that theory in terms of the aerodynamics, it was literally theory. It was based on kind of stuff that they'd maybe plucked out of the aeronautical world. They hadn't necessarily, the brands didn't have the resource or the spend to be able to do all the testing themselves. So they were kind of taking it from other worlds, other expertise. and kind of go, yeah, this is the sort of profile and shape that we need to do. But actually what we're seeing now is every other brand has like their own wind tunnel. They're doing all sorts of testing. They've got, I mean, you saw when you recently went to Canyon, all the stress testing, all the different machines. I mean, they are really expensive. Then they got the staff employed to look after and run all of that. You can kind of understand why prices are going up. I'm not justifying
okay, right, I want
prices.
to confirm that.
Yeah, I'm not justifying the ridiculous prices of some products.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand it. So in my mind, yeah, if I was after wanting to go faster, I'm after, the performance element, then I'm happy, I would be inclined to spend.
So if like aero and performance was your thing, you think spending more money, you are getting something back for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think areas where, well, I'll tell you what, an area where I think I regularly see people go for the cheap option because that's what they think is best, and I actually completely disagree. Bike tyres, right? People are going to go, just buy the cheap one. It's going to wear out. You're going to get cuts on it. You're going to get punctures. So why would I spend upwards of £50 to £80 on one bike tyre when it's just going to get worn out, like categorically?
Yeah.
But I completely disagree. The tyres are one area I think you do want to spend on because that's where you're getting some advantage back.
Yeah,
Areas which I think go cheap on, things that aren't necessarily that functional, things that have got like a bit more like aesthetic, like bar tape. You don't need to spend loads of money on fancy bar tape.
I want the thermoregulation.
No, you don't. You don't need that. You can save some money on that.
I guess it comes back to the original question. It depends on your need. Where you have to, like, I've actually brought in a little prop here. Sorry to keep infiltrating the channel with
What's
running
this? Some
stuff.
sort of obscure cycling shit?
This is a, like, basically you probably would have seen in the news and in the athletics. These are carbon plated running shoes. So these are kind of like the performance running shoes you'll see on the road racing.
Yeah.
So it's got a carbon plate that goes through the middle, but also it's the foam that they use, and it's called Payback's foam. And these are breaking records, loads of records at the moment. However, they cost about £250 upwards, right? And the lifespan of them is like less than a quarter of a normal pair of running shoes. So you're going to go through these really quickly, right?
Yeah.
But by getting a pair of these, you're almost, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but if you want a PB, these are the shoes you get.
Like it's categorically, it's going to help you go faster.
100%. This is about performance. So for £250, they're going to wear out quickly, but you might get a PB.
Well, this kind of actually, right, this takes me back to what we mentioned at the start. Like, how do you define better? I think this is where lots of people go wrong, is right at the very start of the process. People haven't quite maybe defined what is better for them. Like, because if your priority and what is deemed as better for you is longevity of a product or the environmental impact of it, a shoe that has got a quarter of a life of another shoe is maybe not the best shoe for you. Yeah. So then maybe getting a cheaper shoe that's going to last 4 times longer would make more sense. And the same, I mean, I just gave tyres as an example, right? If you want to define better as faster, premium expensive tyre. If like you want to define better as being a tyre that's like super robust and just going to be rock solid and last forever, maybe a cheap tyre that's got like a rock solid rubber compound might be the one.
Yeah.
100%. So there we go. Some cheap barbecues are great. Some expensive barbecues are not that great. But if you shop around, you can find a barbecue that's perfect for you.
Love it.
Right. So I don't want to tell people exactly what bits are cheap and expensive are right for you. I don't want to force that upon anybody. But it'd be cool to hear from everyone in the comments section. What areas of your bike and just bike tech in general do you spend extra money on, and what areas do you save money on because you deem it to be important to you? Cool.
Yeah. Get involved in the comment section down below.
It's now time for hot and spicy tech, and I'm going to kick things off this week with a bike which I think is going to blow some people's minds. It's a cross-country mountain bike with drop handlebars.
Is it a gravel bike or a mountain bike? That's the big question.
Well, I mean, some people will say a gravel bike is just a mountain bike from the 90s with drop handlebars, but this is not a gravel bike from the 90s. It is a mountain bike. It's just got drop handlebars fitted to it. And it was the winning bike in the men's Leadville 100 event.
Not just winning, absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
15-minute winning margin.
Yeah, so Keegan Swenson rode this bike to victory, as you say, 15 minutes. Does this change the world of mountain biking? Or gravel? What do you think?
I think the Leadville course, from my understanding, it's well suited to a bike like that.
Yeah.
This is me saying, having an armchair critic, having actually been there.
You are a triathlete.
I don't think so, if I'm honest. I think it's suited to certain courses, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I think certain courses. I was speaking to Dan yesterday about this bike, because we mentioned it in the GCN show, which I was on this week, the 4th time ever. Dan says years ago he was trying to get a Strava segment on a local track near him, couldn't get it for ages. Eventually, he was fastest on his mountain bike, but the bars were too wide, so eventually he decided a drop bar on his mountain bike was the way to go, and he did it.
He actually
got his Strava segment.
Brilliant.
So it worked out great. So maybe it is the future.
Wow.
Very specific.
It is. Whilst, odd maybe seeing drop bars on a mountain bike, it's still a lovely looking bike, isn't it?
Oh, it looks
nice.
incredible. Oh, yeah. We should probably mention it's a Santa Cruz Highball, the bike.
Yeah, and it's got the SRAM wireless lockout as well.
Yeah. It's actually a really tricked out bike, that.
Yeah.
Talking of tricked out bikes, next we need to talk about a bike trying to fight the good fight and saving rim brakes.
Rim brakes are resurrected.
Yeah. Right, so this is the C68 rim brake edition from Colnago. Firstly, what do you think of it?
A lovely looking bike.
Yeah, nonetheless. What do you think of the concept of saving the rim brake?
I'm a little bit puzzled, I guess, because in terms of sort of like future-proofing yourself, if you are buying this, wheel brands, it's very hard to get hold of rim brake wheels these days. Well, not hard, but they are becoming less common. And then also the brands that are actually, like the rim brakes themselves being
the
produced.
Components. Yeah. That's an interesting point, actually. So this bike is in addition to Colnago's C68 Road, the C68 Gravel, and the C68 All-Road, and there's now a C68 rim brake version. Colnago say it is, according to the website, a product for people with a sophisticated cycling culture. And I want to throw it out there, they've made this bike for people who just prefer to have an inferior braking system. I am kidding. Okay, I am kidding, don't worry. Rim brakes are for everyone. Jokes aside, I do think it's cool to see a top spec, big name brand still making a rim brake bike. I do think disc brakes are better than rim brakes, but I want to still see people have the choice.
Maybe in actual fact they have future-proofed themselves, because they're ready for all those people that use disc brakes and they've just set them up really badly. They're squealing in the wet, and oh my god, these are so annoying. I hate the rubbing. And
it does open a bigger question though: is what group set are you going to put on this? SRAM don't currently make a top spec rim brake group set in their current gen. Campagnolo don't do a top spec current gen. Shimano do Dura Ace in a rim brake version. I'm currently doing a bike build myself. What would you put on it? I mean, if you're spending £6,299 on a rim brake frame set, you're probably going to want the best of everything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to tell us about some weights, actually?
So claimed weight of 1,080 grams, which makes it 155 grams heavier.
Than the disc brake version?
Yeah, the disc brake version.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Something else which is worth pointing out, the C68 is like a modular lugged construction, handmade in Italy, and it's using titanium dropouts. So no risk of corrosion, apparently, because titanium is inert.
Talking of corrosion, did you hear about the Olympic medals with corrosion?
No, but I thought you were going to tell me.
The bronze medals, in particular, started corroding for the athletes. Nigel Houston, the skateboarder, went to Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called these days, and with his medal, and it was corroding, and a number of other athletes have come out saying, I think it's where they've been holding it, and obviously doing photos.
Holding the medal is corroding
and that's corroded it.
What?
And so the Paris Olympic Games have actually come forward and said they're systematically going to try and replace everyone's bronze medals.
That's actually appalling. Cost cutting, saving the budget here. Imagine training for 4 years. I've dedicated my entire life to trying to win this medal. I've won the medal. Couldn't even spend a couple of extra pounds or euros on spending it.
I know. Shocking.
They spent on the money trying to clean the river up. That didn't go that well either, did it? Right, next up, we should talk about some bouncy suspension stems from Redshift.
Lovely.
Have you actually tried a suspension stem? Because I'm guessing it's not a big thing in the world of triathlon.
No, I have no. Yeah.
So do you know the idea or the concept behind it, or should I?
I have seen it. I've just had no need to.
Okay, no, fair enough. So Redshift actually helped support Connor when he did the Unbound attempts.
He's a big fan of them.
Last year or the year before? Can't remember. But he maximised his time using them because he was pretty much last in the event. So he really wanted to make sure he got as much time using that stem as possible. Well, they've now launched shorter stem lengths. So we've got a 55mm version and a 70mm version, in addition to the lengths which are available already. Now, Redshift say, with modern geometry becoming standard on gravel bikes, we wanted to continue to provide the most complete suspension stem lineup in the industry. The Shock Stop is the only suspension stem available in lengths shorter than 70mm.
And it's quite a surprising amount of suspension as well. It's up to 20mm
Yeah, it is significant.
of suspension.
Yeah, now I've used suspension stems in the past. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of them, but I think the tech is really cool, and some people say it really really helps their ride.
Well, also, I do know a number of people that have issues with their wrists and hands.
Yeah.
So actually, if you want to do gravel riding, but actually use a gravel bike rather than a mountain bike, it's pretty cool. I like that.
Nice, I like it.
And then also, we've got a couple of new things coming. Actually, tomorrow, the day after the show goes out, from Silca, which we can't really talk about just yet, but
I'm excited.
suspect it's got something to do with chains and efficiency.
I'm super excited about it. Ollie is guaranteed to be super excited about it. But if you want a really good clue, Si is probably not that excited about it. And I'll just leave that with you next week. We'll pick it up, yeah. Then finally in Hot Tech, what have we got?
We have got some bottles in a big Spanish bike ride sort of theme.
Yeah, we got t-shirts as well at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. As Mark says, if you want to show your support for the big Spanish bike ride, this is perhaps one way to do it. And show your support for us, actually.
Hey.
GCN
really cool.
Camelbak water bottle, red and yellow themed.
I like this. Can I keep it?
I think you can, actually. It doesn't belong to me. I don't know who that bottle belongs to, but
Mine.
now it belongs to you. Right, more Hot Tech next week. Actually, can I probably have that back, please?
Okay, now on to comments of the week.
What's this section about, Mark?
I think it's comments that people have left under videos for us to read
From last week?
from last week.
Brilliant. You go with the first one.
Okay, this one comes from Mama Mooney. Great name. I think this is all in reference to your little discussion about
Yeah, it was from
athletics
underneath
clothing.
last week's show. Yeah.
Yeah, so about the athletics clothing being not very aerodynamic.
Yeah, well, Ollie said track and field athletes are idiots.
Yeah. And Mama Mooney very quickly pointed out, reminds me of Ollie's parachute of a number during the NY Gran Fondo.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. He had an absolute parachute out of that number. He should hang his head in shame. He's let himself down, he's let us down, and he's let aerodynamics in general down. Yeah. Okay. At Shrish and Anna, I've absolutely murdered that name, sorry. They say, not to mention cost, track and field is the best sporting event / family of the sporting world because it's accessible. The last thing anyone needs is for someone to invent a $100,000 sprinting suit that gives them a 1/10 of a second advantage over someone who doesn't have access to those means. I love cycling, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason it's an elitist sport for rich West Europeans and Americans with little representation for everywhere else.
Is there still time to remove that section from the beginning of the show where I talked about the Rion technology?
Probably not, a bit late now. But it is a really valid point. I think it's great that certain sports are more accessible, and I kind of wouldn't want to change that. So I can kind of see both sides.
Yeah, and I think running has long been, it's attracted a lot of people because of that accessibility. All you need is a pair of trainers.
Yeah.
You don't need the £250 pair of trainers, and you can head out the door. And that's why we see some fantastic athletes coming through from all walks of life. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, underneath my Neo Retro build, episode 1, William says, WTF, Alejandro, a cliffhanger. Where is episode 2? Do you think this is House of the Dragons or something and you can just leave us waiting until next season to finish the build? I want to see this thing come together. What, episode 2 is actually out this weekend.
Oh, is it?
I'm actually going to finished filming the second part of the video this afternoon.
2 of House of Dragon, or?
No,
Oh, right.
the Neo Retro build. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not quite so excited about that then.
So yeah, we better wrap the show up quick. I've got to finish building the bike. Right, one more comment as well.
Yeah, this one comes from GoDuPont24. Right, when you saw Alex, you knew it was going to be a Dura-Ace group set.
Yeah, I know. People mock me for this.
Is this when you plucked a Dura-Ace group set out of your garage?
Yeah, you're still aware of it. Yeah, that's the one.
That's done the rounds.
That is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Right. Andy Volley's contact patch video, all about tyres and their contact patches. Old Man Azaban says, thank you for indulging in nerdery. It's greatly appreciated. I learnt quite a bit on something that has not crossed my mind. Well, last comment, you have the last one.
Yeah, last one from Jerry Secure said, running tube 25mm on fairly high pressure. Haven't had a puncture in the last 30,000 kilometres. Wow. It helps looking where you ride though. And I actually do wonder, there's some people that just seem to puncture all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you riding?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you not look where you're going?
In the gutter. Right, it's now time for the Bike Vault. This is where you upload pictures of your bike via the link in the description down below, and then Mark and I judge them to be either nice or super nice. If it's super nice, we ring the bell. I'll let you do the honours on the bell today. Actually.
All right, thanks.
First up this week, we have mo.joe.mtb101 with, I don't actually know what bike this is, but
no, they haven't actually given us details on it, I don't think. It's a very sleek-looking alloy bike, I believe.
Look at the size of that cassette.
Oh, wow. Blimey.
That is a big boy.
How was I... Yeah, that is... I mean, they are ready. I mean, it is a one-buy, so yeah, I can understand, but they are ready for anything with that cassette, aren't they?
It's slightly upsetting me that it's lent against the bench via what appears to be sections of the frame.
Or the tyre. Yeah, maybe the frame. Yeah.
Quite a few infringements. I mean, the cranks are level, but the tyres are not aligned. The bike's not really aligned because it's on a sloping bit of ground.
God, you are brutal, aren't you?
Wow. Bottles don't match up. Nice?
I mean, I was going to say nice.
Yeah, well, it is nice. It's still nice. Yeah. Who we got next?
I love how you do that. You like shoot them down with lots of negatives and like, but it's nice. It's all right.
There isn't a bad option. It's either nice or super nice.
Okay, fine. All right. Next one from Klaus Ollendorf. And he has got a lovely looking BMC. And again, no details.
Oh, sorry. New Dura-Ace.
Yeah, new Dura-Ace.
I like the design. The colour is simple, but I like the fact that the white from the handlebars fades.
Yeah,
the top
yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
My only criticism, and this would be being very elitist, is a super high stack height on the headset. But I understand you've got to be comfortable when you ride.
Yeah.
But you could, when you're going to take a photo, take all of them out and drop them.
No. Yeah, like visually it's not that pleasing to the eye, but like you say, it's more important to have a bike that fits
100%.
Right. Yeah.
100%.
I want to throw it out there. I'd quite like super nice.
I was going to say super nice.
Yeah? Brilliant. Poly Nerd next, named Donatello, after the Mechanic Ninja Turtle, purchased in March 2024, installed most of the parts myself, started out not knowing what a gravel bike is, and the only part left that's original on the bike is the seat post.
Yeah.
What? That does not count. They've actually given us a Google Drive link to all of the details about the build.
Oh, wow.
So I might actually look at that and share that if we can. But the colour of this bike.
Yeah, wow.
That's doing it.
Bold colour, isn't it?
Are they Camelbak insulated bottles? I think they are.
They've also matched the bar tape with I believe they're Crank Brothers pedals, aren't they? And the clamp around the seat post. Very good.
Tanwall tyres, valves are aligned.
Obviously, it's got a bento box, obviously getting lots of thumbs up from me as a triathlete.
Yeah. What do you put in there? Like your flippers for swimming?
Yeah. Goggles have to swim.
I like it.
I was going to say nice. Are you on a super nice?
I mean, I was borderline super nice. I think the colour is
you know what?
me.
The effort and attention to detail that's gone into it, I'm going to give it super nice.
Brilliant. Who have we got next, Mark?
Next one from Gibson.com, and they've got a rib brake bike here, still kicking it. Here is my Officini, is that how we say?
Maybe,
Officine,
yeah.
Matteo, Lemma RT, outfitted with Zip 303 Firecrest wheels, GP 5000 tyres, SRAM Axis Force, rim brakes, Lucchio blade pedals. We can go on. But what do we think to this?
Well, it says they note that they used a GCN shadow stand, which, if you're familiar with the bike roll rules, is an automatic super nice, I think.
Okay. It's also got that physique. What is it? The Versus Evo.
The 3D printed, yeah.
saddle. That's quite cool.
It's a shame it's an ever so slight jaunty angle, if I'm honest.
And they've matched, or whatever this came standard with it, but the bar end plugs are gold to go with the logo.
Like that.
Very cool.
Can we super nice it, please?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a super nice.
Next up, we've got Disco Stew 220 with, this is their description of it, it's like not me saying it, polishing a turd. Giving the bike a bit of a tidy up with some new tyres after the Welsh grit last weekend. The tyres are not aligned with the front rim due to a tubeless tyre being a total pitter, or pain in the arse. Not a pit of bread. Apparently they're not a tubeless tyre fan. That's a shame. Not sure we can be friends anymore.
I mean, you kind of shot yourself in the foot here with many things, didn't you? You called it a turd from the off. You haven't aligned your logos. Why did you bother?
Whoa, very harsh words.
I'm joking.
Do you know what? Like, I've got to say, I quite like the bike, but I don't think it's worthy of a super nice.
No, it's a great bike, but yeah, I'm going to give it a nice.
So we're going to go nice on that?
Yeah, nice.
All right, that's a nice. That was our last bike vault in the show this week, which means the GCN Tech Show has drawn to a close. Mark, it's been brilliant having you on. Thanks again. Please do get involved in the comments section down below. Let us know what sort of components or areas of your bike you go cheap on and what bits you go expensive on. And, well, I guess probably in a few months we'll have you back on the show again, shall we?
Yeah, and also tell us about your barbecue as well, if you like, and how much you got your barbecue for.
That's good. Get all your barbecue tips in the comments section down below. Mark says he bought his from Argos. Right. Love you. Bye.